So
FTX. I mean, I know this was like a big deal today, and man, we don't have enough time for the rest of this show to like get into it all. But I think this summarizes the two really important lessons that every human, every business, every child needs to know. And it's basically, don't use leverage. That's what it all comes down to. Don't use leverage, and don't trust other people with your money.
I heard you on Spaces earlier today, and I believe you said it was like the 3 L's or something like that can really tear you up. And I thought that was the clever one. I never heard that before, and that's one I'm gonna tell my kids about.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I got ladies, liquor, and leverage.
There you go.
The 3 L's.
Got to be careful with them.
I've talked to a lot of ladies, and they agree that it's ladies, liquor, and leverage. And those 3 things, specifically what it is, ladies, liquors, and leverage, are the 3 ways that you go broke. But the caveat is that leverage is the one that kills you dead, hurts a lot of people, wrecks families, wrecks people.
Yeah.
And so what FTX did is that they created their own token, right? I saw somebody tweet, it's like McDonald's creating a token, and let's call it clown token. And then they use that clown token as leverage, as collateral to get loans for other money. And so with that first one there, with like creating their own token and using it as leverage, what happened is that people realized that the clown token isn't worth anything because it's a clown token. And so that made the leverage against it just like, become uneven. And yeah, they were borrowing money that they didn't have. That's what leverage is. Leverage is when you use someone else's money, or basically you're using someone else's money to purchase, to make a purchase. And yeah, the market swings, even slightly, you can lose everything. Like leverage is meant to be used extremely lightly, and nobody uses leverage lightly. And yeah, it's just, if you're able to create money, if you're able to have a job, if you're able to spend less, and it's really hard to do this, but if you're able to spend less than what you make, if you can just have cash flow and just hold crypto, if not have cash flow and accumulate crypto, if you can hold and accumulate crypto and not sell and not use leverage, then when I look at people that have succeeded in Bitcoin, those are a lot of the people, right? People that have held on for 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 years.
Yeah, personally, I've never used leverage on anything. I have some buddies that like to trade and use leverage for just coins and day trading and stuff like that. They tried showing me try breaking it down for me. I downloaded the site to check it out. I looked at this thing. I said, nope. it looked way beyond me. I said, this looks way too complicated, man. And it scares me. I was kind of, I went from stocks to crypto, and in stocks, it was one of those things like you don't use leverage, you don't use money that's not yours, and just I'd rather get it slowly and just stack it and do what I have to do than risk. I don't know. I've seen, you see those movies. You see what was that Adam Sandler movie where he's always borrowing money, and I forget the name, but it was a pretty good one. But just what I'm getting at is you see and hear these stories all the time of people like really ruining their lives and ruining their families off of just the greed of over leveraging yourself on certain things. It's one thing if you have, $300 left over at the month and you you're like, okay, I can go without, and you put it into crypto, and then you do something with your crypto. That's one thing, but to have your $300 and leverage it 5x, 10x, or however many x's you can go because you want to make the most you can, it's not worth it in my eyes. I think that you can really, you're gonna mess yourself up for the long haul and just probably put yourself in a terrible situation. You can get a win here and there. I had a buddy do some leverage, and his first week he won. I said he won like it's a casino because that's what it feels like. But he placed it correctly and he came up a lot. And then it was like the week later he tried doing it again and he lost everything. And he was like lost more than he was expecting to. And he was just torn up. And yeah, it's messed up because I got him into the ENS thing and I got him into like the NFTs and he was doing good. But once he got wrecked with the leverage, he was like, I need to like stop. Like, I just need to hang this up because it's not good for my mental. And he was like really beating himself up with how much he lost and how fast. And I was like, man, I never showed you the leverage. I showed you ENS and I showed you a few NFTs, but there's a reason why I don't do that stuff. And I'm no pro, but it's scary, man. It scares me. Like, the more experienced people, maybe not. As for myself, I don't think I'll ever pick it up. I don't see the use case for it.
Well, you've been warned, so.
Yeah.
So for me, I think I started out on leverage, and you learn that lesson, and you have to learn it and move on from that. Otherwise, you'll just continue making that mistake. And bringing it full circle, I think with ENS names, there's a lesson in that as well, which is, you don't need to rush into anything. You can play the compounding game. Leverage is fine. But you want to play the compounding game and you'll end up better off with it. So with ENS names, my view is that you got to be patient. It's not the same as leverage, but you don't rush into something. You don't think you're going to make everything and spend all your money. You be patient. You say, okay, one today, one tomorrow, one a week from now. I'm really going to think about it. I'm going to think about my trades. And I recall hearing, I don't know who it was, but in terms of market cycles, you get one cycle to learn, one cycle to make money, one cycle to retire on. And first one, most people fail on leverage. It's a shame.
That's a good lesson, man. I'm glad that you learned your lesson, and I'm just going to try to avoid the road. I've seen a few, I've got my own lessons and a few things. And, I like to try to, I got a friend 184 now who tells me, he's like, look, man, I learned from it. And I'll say, you know what, you're right. A lot of times, you do got to learn for yourself. But I've got an older brother and he's a troublemaker. And one thing that is cool about having a sibling that's a troublemaker, I don't want to say cool, but sometimes you get to learn a few lessons like without you having to learn it because you see others learn it and you're like, oh man, I don't want that to happen. So then I try to kind of watch from the sidelines with a lot of these things. I'm not fortunate always, and you definitely got to kick yourself in the butt sometimes. But leverage I'll try to avoid. My problem now is instead of getting my Ethereum and stacking it slowly, I get my Ethereum and I stack it a little bit and then I go buy names. Or I buy these NFTs, man, and that's where I gotta kind of pump my brakes a little bit.
So, Gary, you're on mute.
Gary,
I was saying, make sure they're good names. Good names.
I've been stepping it up. My last few, they've been the more expensive, names I've purchased, but it's because I'm taking this a little bit more serious. And a couple months ago, I'd say, why would I spend 0.8 on a name right now when I can register all these names with that much? And it's not the same no more. I very rarely register names anymore. I was against like the secondary shopping because I'm like, we're so early, I can still score names, which it's cool. It's cool when you go and register a name for, well, with gas this low, you spend like $16. When I was first doing it, it was $100 a name. So I still chalk it up in my head as like $100 a name when I'm registering, but it's far cheaper and it is fun when you can flip it. If I'm registering names, I'll flip them cheap. Like I've had names that are cool and I'll sell them for 0.1. And I got friends who are like, man, you should have held that one. And I'm like, man, I spent $16. I left for 160. I'm going to use that 160 to do like better with. So, that's a cool thing. You can play it all different types of ways, but I've definitely been trying to step up and take it a lot more serious. Even purchasing my 4-digit. I stood on the sideline for so long and I finally bought one. And then, I bought the local top, but I'm here now. I said, if I sold, it would have went up. But yeah, it was my most I spent on a ENS name so far was a 4-digit at about 2.5. And I'm just gonna hold it now because I think I should, and I'm also too prideful to don't sell it at this point, especially after only having it for a couple months.
If you need to sell it, sell it. But if you can hold it, and if you want to hold it, then hold it. Because we're like, it's like, I don't want to say we're at the bottom of the ENS market, but we're definitely in a decline, right? And it's like, I mean, we think Bitcoin and Ethereum are eventually going to go back up, right? Someday.
Right. Same with ENS, these markets will pick up too. That's why I just got to tell myself to calm down.
What's going to happen to NFTs when Ethereum comes into a bull market and goes back to 5,000 and plus, and goes past its all-time high? What's that going to mean for NFT projects that then feel the pinch of NFT liquidity crunch, plus all this new money flushing in, plus an audience of rabid fans?
Yeah, a whole new pool of fans. It actually makes me want to ask a random question while we're on the topic, and it's for you, Gary. 184. I think you got the purple hair punk. I know it's not a real punk, so I'm not sure how much.
Whoa! It's a V1 punk. It's a V1 punk.
Oh, okay. My apologies. Well, that's why we're here. Clear it up because I wasn't sure.
I was gonna say all punks are real punks. Give the guy a break. No, it's a real punk.
But so I don't know how much you guys do the JPEG dabbling. We're big. We're friends through the ENS connections. Like Gary, I know you got your Bored Ape. If I was you, I'd probably be like, man, I got an ape. I'm good. You guys can play. I now know you have a VFriends also. Do you still dabble with anything else, or are you kind of just like, I got what I want and I'm ENS now?
No, man. I still dabble. It's like I guess JPEGs are fun, NFTs are fun. They can provide a lot of fun. They can provide a lot of utility. They can provide a lot of community. I'm sort of like a Web3 maximalist in terms of decentralization. At the same time, I recognize that Web3 is the same thing as Web 2.5. Just some things are more decentralized than others. And then some projects should be centralized, right? It's like the Bored Ape project. You want leadership. You want it to be centralized. You want those leaders to take it a certain way. Because if a DAO manages a project direction, a DAO is just good for making decisions. You know what I mean? Really important on-chain decisions. You want the leadership to steer the project toward what's best. You don't want the average person is just going to be making me money. The average person isn't going to do what's best for that project. And so, good leaders, good entrepreneurs are going to make good projects. And, on one end, you can say the Bored Apes is an example of that. Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V is an example of that, what he's done with everything from V1 VFriends and V2 VFriends and book games and all that stuff. Merchandising, monetization through merchandise, partnerships, conferences, just a lot of things going on, building value for that project. And then Gary V with the VCR group, also has the Flyfish Club, right? I don't know if you know what the Flyfish Club. And so that's just another NFT project that has good leadership and has this major utility. And I think in the future, people are going to want to be part of those clubs. They're going to want to be part of those communities.
Right.
And the major problem with everything is that it's really easy for the average person to FOMO into something. And so the FOMO is really bad, buying in too soon, buying in for too much, seeing some initial results out of the gate, and then that project faltering and failing is really, really difficult, right? Especially for someone like me, who's a long-term investor, right? It's I have a very, very hard time finding the sell button. It's I'm really good at locating the buy button. I'm really bad at finding the sell button. So yeah. And so, I mean, money's tight, so I'm not dabbling a lot right now. But I'm about to buy these NFTs from the POEP art board.
Right.
You know, I just bought 2, you know, for my partner and I, my wife and I just bought 2 domain plug NFTs.
That's true.
You know, I just got done buying a boatload of, you know, like in the past couple months, a boatload of .earth domains, you know, and I got like 3 of those .earth NFT, you know, nomad
that's a cool
avatars
right there. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, I mean, my main wallet's public, you know, which is where I do honestly most of my buying, and you know, people can see like what's most recent, and so I mean, I dabble in a bunch of things, and you know, I got some old projects back in the day, the Sewer Rat Social Club. I still love those damn NFTs, even though they're almost worthless, even though. I still believe in the community. The community is still there, and the community is still strong. And I still believe the community might come back in the future. But if they don't come back in the future, I'm going to own a shitload of these Sewer Rat NFTs, and I'm going to be able to, you know, do something with them. You know,
they
have similar rights to Bored Apes.
Yeah, deck out the office and something like that. That's what got me is the IP rights, because I feel like if you're a creative person and well, you know, you can see the opportunity for something, then you can really, even if your project goes to zero, like will your NFT really go to zero if you find a way to provide value to it or do something creative with it. Like I'm just a frog on Twitter right now, and it's just a red frog, and it's funny because I joined the ENS Maxi spaces, and they hate that I don't rock like an ENS Maxi. That's part of the reason I don't do it. I just like to kind of tick people off in like in a subtle way. But like
let's start talking crap about the ENS Maxis. We'll fill this place up.
It's good marketing. But yeah, Bloom like started making some. We're working on.
I love the Maxis.
Yeah, I got.
I won't change my PFP either, but
yeah, I got a few.
Money, I get that money. I get that money. Yeah, I get that money. I get that money. Yeah, I get that money. You can't take it from me. Boy, it can get early. Don't play with my money.